Welcome back, guys. Another episode of the Hawk Vision podcast. I am your host, Chuck Hawkins, wherever you're listening and now watching on YouTube. I am happy to have you join me as always. I do not take it lightly that you could be anywhere doing anything, but you're here because you want to shorten the learning curve on your way to greatness. Like, share, subscribe across all of your social media platforms, and most importantly, follow the YouTube page. There's going to be tons of content coming out that you don't want to miss, and it won't be anywhere else. Now, this week's guests are exactly what this show is about. They've managed to thrive in a time and environment where most people are understandably trying to put the pieces back together and hang on to what they have already, but they're visionaries. They've bet on themselves, and because of their massive success, they've been featured on Black Enterprise, Roland Martin Unfiltered, Sheen Magazine, so many more outlets, and their products have been worn by the likes of Reverend Al Sharpton, Candy Burris from Escape, Portia Williams, Shamia Morton from Real Housewives. The SmilesShield, guys, is changing the entire landscape of what a functional and fly protective shield looks like. And it's also introducing personalization and luxury to your health and safety. They are taking the market by storm with well over 4,000 units sold, and I couldn't be more excited to have them on. Entrepreneurs, Ernest Smiles, Barbara Furlow Smiles, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. We're excited.
Absolutely. I see the shields. I love it. We getting ready to jump all into it. And I see Ernest got the one to say facts on there. She's all blinked out. I love it.
Yes.
That's right.
I love it, guys. Now, I always want to appreciate my guests for coming on. I know you guys can be doing anything and you guys are up and running and killing it, but I have to lead with this because my viewers and listeners are working their ways out of their 9 to 5, and you two left those good jobs, right? Those good jobs. Where were you in corporate or emotional space? Like, what was going on when you decided to launch?
Well, I mean, I primarily, before this, I was the director of transportation for a transportation company in San Francisco.
Okay.
And then after that, I was an entrepreneur before this actually started. This is just one of our products that we have, and that'll be up, and other things that'll be up and coming.
I love it.
And for me, I'm actually still in corporate America. So I call myself a corporatepreneur, right? So corporate and entrepreneur. We were blessed to be featured in Black Enterprise, where I tell the story of literally coming from a family of entrepreneurs. So I had my first company at 16. So this is in our DNA. We think everybody should have a side hustle.
Yes, totally agree. It's funny because I you hear people talk about their success and the businesses that they have, and it's never the first one that takes off, right? It's always, you learn as you grow. Since you guys are doing this jointly as a business, husband and wife team, I gotta ask, who's the visionary and who's the one that's practical, right? Who's the one that's like, we ain't doing none of that until these numbers match? How does that part work?
Well, I'm actually both. I'm the visionary and I'm operationally the practical one. My wife is the marketing guru. She's
also visionary.
She's a visionary too.
Don't cut me out of the vision.
But I'm not cutting you out of the visionary. What I'm explaining is that the actual concept and the future of where this is going is pretty much decided by myself.
Right.
And then I bring it back to my wife, who makes some magic happen.
Yeah.
Listen, Ernest, you know anything like I do. We talked about, having some years in the game. We can be visionaries and we can be real effective, but that final stamp, it got to come.
Right. And you have to have that. Absolutely. And
I love it. So let me ask you, you come up with amazing ideas. How did you decide that this was a long-term viable business with the SmilesShield, and what was the initial plan, Barbara, to your point, to penetrate the market?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that the reality was that there was this huge market that was created by the pandemic of healthcare / face mask, face shields. It already existed. So you had this immediate effect of billions of customers, a billion customers, right when the pandemic hit. So there was not a whole lot of market research that was needed, which would normally happen in any other normal product. You would say, who are we targeting? This was something that was mandated across the globe. And I said, well, we already knew there was a customer base. That was our customer base. So that was already centralized, already decided before we had the product. We were actually looking for the product. So the key to our business was, and business in general, your customer should come first. Primarily, if you start with the customer and solving the customer's problem first, then you decide, the customer will tell you what product they want. So we were listening, and people were saying, wow, I don't like how this mask, I don't like this blue mask, how it looks on my face. I don't like this face shield. It has this on the side. Man, I can't wait till COVID is over. So you hear that? I heard that every day. And I said, man,
even at home, I hated it.
At home, she smeared, she takes off her face mask, her lipstick is all up the side of her face.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh yeah, there's a problem here. Yeah. And I got 1 billion customers. All I need is 1%, and I got me $1 million.
Listen.
So I that was all I needed. But that's really, once again, how it started was, we started with the customer and how can we solve the customer's problem, not the product.
Wow. But a fun fact is this, so he can his MBA at Syracuse. I'm in the interim getting it from UCLA. And so we're business minded. And interestingly, when we thought of this concept, we went right to trademark. And what people don't understand, and this is what we talk about, just really being business minded that other communities are, there are over 10,000 applications already for masks and shields. So it showcases that other people were thinking of the same thing. We were just really quick to it. And so we like to add that in, is that the penetration of the market was happening really fast. And so we wanted to be the ones that also went in there with a viable product that, how we do as Black folks, add that, sass to it.
Yes. And I see the mask right there says facts. Let me ask you, I'm excited about this because a lot of people will have a great idea, and sometimes timing, does play a part. But you always hear about these massive fortunes that were built during a pandemic, right? And during the Great Depression. Like, if you study wealth and you study history, you hear about all these massive fortunes that were built. And one of the things that I love about you guys' story is that there was no, at least evident, levels of fear. You guys didn't get frozen when you realized that the timing was right. Can you talk to me a little bit about what that part looked like between your sales conversations and just moving and implementing?
Well, I think what it boiled down to is that both, as Barbara said, being MBA graduates and Barbara being in the MBA program at UCLA, we had the necessary tools. Mm-hmm. So there was really not a fear when there was a structure already built and there for us. So by that structure being there, of knowing what tool to pull out, we knew what customer, how we're going to focus on the customer. We knew what marketing approach, what strategy. It was already there, and it just needed a product.
Wow.
I'll add this though, but one of the things you called it out was fear. We call it like the 4F approach to success.
Okay.
With F being the silent F of the fear, was the silent F where we talk about faith, family, focus, and future. And so for the start of it, it was very fearful. I think for everyone, no one knew what COVID was.
Well, I think with the product, and I think, what you're saying with the product, the fear, and I know my wife is saying, our fear came dealing with the pandemic itself.
Right.
After we got past the fear of the pandemic, it was like, okay, this pandemic's not going where, and people are still spending money. Yeah. Amazon packages are still dropping everywhere. Right. It looks like Christmas every day over in this area.
And I mean, listen, mine too.
At my house, I got 5 packages a day. I look around, there are 4 and 5 packages every day. So I said, yeah, there's a pandemic, but people are still spending money. So are we going to worry? Are we going to be in fear of the pandemic, or are we going to create something magical? And that's what it really boiled down to. Do we have an opportunity to create a magical moment with SmilesShield?
And that's where the faith and focus came in, right? Like, you have the faith knowing, okay, we're going to be all right. And the focus was, how do we draw our intentions to something that was positive, that raised our vibrations, right? Because it was in a
Yeah.
moment of time, it still is, of all you see on the news is struggle. And so we wanted to
Yes.
come together to kind of shift that energy. And I think too, I'll take my shield off for this one. Interestingly, the advantage was I work at Facebook and Instagram. And so what we also saw was a shift in the market with e-commerce and social media. And so
Mm,
we were able to bypass a lot of the kind of infrastructure constraints and go straight to social
yes.
media and get direct feedback from customers and hire a social media manager, right? And literally direct sales is from, we have 98% of referrals when we look at our Shopify from Instagram.
Wow.
And so we understood the change in the market. And that's also something that's very important that it teaches you in the MBA classes, is that change is rapid. You got to understand where the market is changing. And there were a lot of people who refuse to even go on social media. You're missing
Yeah.
out on millions of dollars. So we mastered social media and launched directly on Facebook and Instagram, developed our website. That was one of the biggest things. But one of the big things I think that made us stand apart is that we invested in like quality. So we have
Mm,
a quality website. We got
yeah.
quality videos and quality products because we understood that presentation mattered. And we
Yes.
wanted to signal that this was something serious and not like a little hobby, right? That you go to Michael's and do, that this was a real company.
Yes. I love it. I love it. It's important to, I think, and to your point, I think that's where most people freeze up, right? Is they get so invested in quality and market research, which you guys didn't have to do, but they get so wrapped up in that part that they, my website's not ready, I can't sell anything. My Shopify is not ready, I can't sell anything. And if we've learned anything from the millions of stories, whether it be the music industry or CJ Walker's biopic that people watched earlier in the year, it's you have to build while you're sell while you're building. And
Yeah.
I love that part. Let me, coming from corporate America, and I know Barbara, you're still there, but what's the one thing that nobody told you about entrepreneurship that wasn't in the books, that wasn't in the classes, and that corporate may or may not have prepared you for?
I think honestly is that when people are developing products, they're so focused on the product. And like I said, it's about the customer. It's
Yeah.
about solving the customer's problem.
Mhm.
In addition to that, what a product really is a personality. A product itself, in marketing, they teach you we're selling products. I don't have to sell a product. I need to find personalities that can relate to my products and that product's emotion. And
Mm,
if we can make an emotional connection, then we have something magical, something special to a person that won't go away. And
yes.
that's one of the keys that they don't teach you. And like I said, that you are creating a personalities, which is why when you look at a car company or someone else, they have to go find a brand ambassador, a personality to for you to attach to. But they
Yes.
should, but that's what it should really be. Your product should have a personality already,
Wow. Wow.
and you should be able to identify who are those personalities that'll fit. And that's where customization comes in with this product, is the fact that
Yes.
everybody can make it theirs. And
Mhm.
that's one of the secret sauces to what a Smile Shield is no matter what, like I had on facts, you may say, hey, like you said, man, I'm a Cowboys fan. Guess
Mhm.
what? You're
Yes.
gonna feel magical when you throw on your Cowboys
Mhm.
jersey and your Cowboy shield.
Mhm.
That's what makes
Absolutely.
this so important. But that's what they don't teach you.
I would also talk about, in particular, in Black and Latino communities, was resources, right?
Yes.
So I think that if you were to look at the research, that's what stops a lot of people, is that they don't have the necessary funds or access to capital. And so what we knew early on, being just from entrepreneurship backgrounds, every bonus we had would have a percentage of a creator's fund. And so
Nice.
we were in a position to have the funds necessary to go fast. So we didn't have to get a loan. We didn't have to ask family or friends. We didn't need a business loan. This is all funded through our personal savings, where we were able to get a website. We were able to hire people, right? And so they don't teach you to me, the necessity of having just money saved, right? So that you can move fast and that you're not in the graces of whoever is going to give you money or not. And so we've been able to move without restrictions and really not caring what anyone says because no one's funding it but us. Because we've had haters and people who said, listen, this is a pandemic, in particular for me. You need to focus on your 9 to 5 because a lot of people get laid off, right? And that also comes with that fear of something will happen. And so because we've been financially blessed, we've been able to move really fast. And so that's one part that I try to tell people in terms of creating businesses, that it will cost money. But so start saving now and start being very intentional on where you get your resources and funds from.
Love it. I love it. This is so good because I'm getting both sides of every question for you guys. So it's easy to see, how you guys are able to work so well and seamlessly together and why you guys are experiencing the success that you are. I Googled the average salary of a business owner, and literally the first number that pops up is $43,240. Obviously, you guys have a much bigger vision for your business, but because we don't do nothing for 43 grand on the Hawk Vision podcast, and we're not hating, we want everybody to get their money. You got to start somewhere. But when did you know that it was scalable? When did you know, outside of the obvious, right? The pandemic and people need shields. When did you know that this was scalable and something that you could put your all into?
We honestly, it was scalable from day one.
Yeah.
Because the strategy that we had, we literally, I discovered the product on July 27th and had a website up, 3 days? By next Wednesday, it took us about 6 days and the website was up. Wow. I went and took photos, and if you go back through my Instagram, I tell people, go scroll down to the bottom. That's July 28th, maybe. That all those photos and everything started coming like 2 days later, and we knew this was launching. So that's where it really was.
I would also say the reactions from people.
Yes.
When you put on a SmilesShield, we call it the Smiles effect. And literally, this is not us gassing it up, but we get so much feedback every day on how people feel when they go out. There's sometimes I don't wear it because I don't want to get attention, to be honest with you. I just put on a regular mask. Because when you put on a SmilesShield, the instant attention, people gravitate to you. No one has this in the market. I mean, look, we got a Bribe Bedazzled line, right? Yes. We have the luxury line. Who has this, right? Yeah. We also have so many others where you can customize with your name. And so I knew, because it was something like Ernest said that I was complaining about for a week. I was like, nah, I'm too fly. I gotta have something else. I have to have something that to Ernest's personality.
Yes.
We felt that, this pandemic has taken so much from people. And they have lost control of so much. And so we wanted to do something that people could have the control of expression. And so the reaction and constant reaction, to be quite honest, the Chings on Shopify every day, right?
Yeah.
And that's when we knew. You talk about the average, $43,000.
$43,240.
We surpassed that already, and we were only 6 months in. We ain't gonna tell you the amount because IRS, but
we don't snitch on the podcast.
Right. So it's such a viable company already, and this is 6 months in, and this is even just the start of what we're doing.
But I think also when you talk about scalability, it really boiled down to, once again, you have 1 billion customers. You have the ways that we were able to transition this business from schools. I got school teachers I gave it to because they wanted to get, all the school teachers wanted to have them. There were health companies that wanted to have them, restaurants that had 30 employees. Oh, you know what? We want our restaurant's name. And we got 35 employees.
Nice.
So it was so many ways to dice this. Even right now, I have sports teams that are talking to me. I have a luxury brand that petitioned me, sent me product to make a face shield for them because they want to go into the market and wanted me to partner with them so that they can release a luxury, a high-end face shield that they could sell for upwards of $500, $600.
See, I want all the names. I want everything. But what is apparent to me and what is standing out the most is you guys' energy. And I talk to anybody that listens when I do my own little classes and speeches or whatever. I tell people, listen, the energy that you create around your relationship with money will create opportunities. And you guys' energy is just it's through the roof. I love it.
Yeah, but you know what? You just said it too, and we talk about that. All this is really energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we are as people, we are energy.
Mm-hmm.
Once you understand that we can drive anything, you better come. If you're gonna be an entrepreneur, you better bring everything with you every day, all the energy in the world. You should be the most pumped person. If you tell me you have this item and you're like, yeah, I have a nice product, it's like, I don't believe it. So I want to believe it. And I believe that that's what's also made this a success. When people do see my wife and I, they see us and we're adamant about how great of a product this is and how it can make you happy.
And one of the things I'll just add to that, we have long talks, we have pillow talks, and we talk about obsession. Okay. You know, when you become an entrepreneur, you need to be obsessed. We think that I personally feel like the word obsession has such a negative connotation, like, oh, you don't want to be obsessed or addicted. You better. Because when you start, there will be people who are haters in your family. There will be people who will be doubters, who will project their fears on you, their low vibrations on you. And you have to have such a deep-rooted faith, belief, and obsession of this product that no matter what you're hearing, that you are going to keep pushing. And so we have been looking at some documentaries. We just saw the Tiger Woods one and all these other ones where they had an obsession with whatever they were striving to do. And so that's what you see. Our energy is an obsession with making the best face shield that literally brings smiles to people's faces. And that is the energy that we give out when we mail it to you. I mean, we get that feedback from people that said, wow, I put on a smile shield and I was depressed and I'm so happy now. I see myself. People see me now. That's exactly what we are very intentional about.
I think to piggyback on that too, I think the obsessive thing is one thing. And I think what it really people is the natural passion. Are you really passionate about the product? You know, and once again, I say passionate about the personality. You know, are you passionate about this product so much that when you wake up at 1:30 and roll over, you're still thinking about it? When I wake up at 1:30, I roll over and look inside and see if anybody instant message.
And that's fact.
Did someone DM me? That's literally what I'm doing. And if I saw that you DM me at 2:30, guess what I do? I respond. I don't wait till 8 o'clock and say my hours are this. The other portion of being an entrepreneur is there is no such thing as a 9 to 5.
Right. No balance.
Entrepreneurship is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you're not ready to make entrepreneurship a lifestyle, being an entrepreneur is not for you. There's not a Sunday you want to block Sunday off. It's like it's not going to be feasible. Yeah. Most of your customers may be off on the weekends, like SmilesShield. A lot of our customers are sitting right there on Instagram heavy on Saturday and Sunday.
Exactly.
You know how much pool of customers there on Saturday, Sunday that if I took off on the weekend, how much money I would miss. So Monday through Friday is really more operational. Saturday and Sunday, I'm working even harder.
Right. That's grind time. One of the things that I every once in a while I'll tell people, you know, my inner circle, my power circle, who's coming next on the show. And we just had Amber Aziza, who's an international business owner. She's in London, and she talked about having customers in, you know, all these different countries. And then I told someone, I said, oh, I'm going to have the SmilesShield couple on, you know, and they were like, I love them. Like, it was just so quick. And one of the things that it made me think about is made me reflect on the impact that you guys are having. So it's one thing to be a successful company, right? But it's another to impact lives. And to you guys' point, I think you guys are doing so much of the good work that people are forgetting that they've lost control over people seeing their smile, right? They've lost control over, you look good, you feel good, you play good. And for, you know, I know my wife is taking off many a mask and, you know, the lipstick and the makeup. And she's like, you know what? Today we're not going nowhere. But, you know, It's you guys are doing something good, and I think that the ability to see that opportunity and capitalize on it the way that you have has been amazing. It's been absolutely
amazing. That was truly intentional. And I think that's another portion of being an entrepreneur. You should be highly intentional.
Yes.
Meaning we knew during this moment, we wanted to be that company that brought something positive out of this pandemic. Right. Meaning we said, we're gonna have a special moment. Mm-hmm. And no matter how dark it is, when we say energy, we want it to be light.
Yeah.
We wanted to show that we could create light in something that was dark.
Right.
Because this is who we are, and this is who we are as people in general. So being intentional that we will make people smile,
right,
and that we will make it infectious. You know, we talk about infectious disease, we can make smiles infectious, where now everybody's like, I need to have one, I need to be smiling.
Right.
So now everyone's sending these DM and pictures.
Yes.
All of a sudden it gets more and more pictures.
Yes.
Now we went from 3 followers to 10,000 followers in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't see what we see, and in a minute it's gonna hit 100,000 followers, and tons of celebrities already have the shields.
Right.
Some have posted, some have not.
Right.
One of the most famous entertainers in the world has a $5,000 face shield.
Yeah.
We're not gonna say who that is, but it's just showing you that it's spreading, and before you know it, everyone will look up, and we all at least say we had a moment where we were smiling during this pandemic.
Right.
Wow. I'm glad you mentioned the word, because I don't often, mention other shows, but I did watch one, and I have to ask, in the interest of keeping it a little bit light, who picked The Rock, who picked Michael B. Jordan, and who picked Rihanna?
Oh, God. So this is you talk about the Sheet magazine, right?
I'm trying to. I have some assumptions, but I'm not going. Who picked what?
I mean, have you seen the Super Bowl ad? Come on, you know Michael B. Jordan. I think it's safe to say you know who picked it.
Yeah. I just my only question is, where was Regina Hall, bro? We missed Regina Hall.
We definitely. There was no diss. If you know Regina or somebody out there listening to this, Regina, please go get a SmilesShield. I will make you a gift box. We need that.
I love
Regina is a real life superhero.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that I'm definitely a super fan.
Yeah, I wasn't mad at that Rihanna one. I saw that when I looked over. Baby, so let me ask you this. Respectfully is the thing now, right? How do you guys keep business and the marriage? Like, is there a time where you shut down and try to, just make sure that you focus on each other so that you can re-energize, you know what I mean? Like, how do you balance that part?
I think, to be honest, we've been business partners from day one. So this has been a back and forth banter since we've been together. So we knew that even when we got married, that marriage is also a business.
Yes.
And for people that get married, not understanding and not recognizing that and not admitting to that, you're going to be flawed, because you got to pay bills, you got to get bank loans. So we've been doing this, and be honest, we don't separate. We don't separate it. It's there.
But I would add, from the women's perspective, I would say is integration, right? I think a lot of people talk about balance, but I think that's what provides a lot of guilt. You're not going to balance, you're going to integrate it. Yes. So how do you successfully integrate it? I'm also known as the self-care queen. So for us, it's more of like date nights. So we're very big on date nights, right? Where we as a couple really connect. We're really big on taking our PTO and vacations, right? So we just came from South Africa, where we did a wedding renewal vow, right? So it's finding moments of joy and finding moments. We also have a 5-year-old. So are there things that we can do with our 5-year-old? So I do think you do have to be intentional. It's not always business, because that's also where you start losing yourself and your partner when you're fixating just on the money, because you have to remember why you got together. There has to be a concerted effort to keep that spark and love going, because it could be hard, right? And so we are very intentional in keeping our date nights, doing our vacations, and traveling really to fun places.
I think what she's also saying is our program has already been built of the self-care, the travel, the fun. So the business is thrown in there, and it can coexist inside of what we've already built. The business can coexist and survive without it causing a divorce, because I could technically see how someone going into business together, there's some deep conversations you should have. That would be my advice, because you could easily end up on a divorce track arguing about or having discussions about business that have nothing to do with your actual marriage. So
listen, you are saying a word right now. I have watched tons of so I have a background in network marketing prior to running this, as well as corporate. But in network marketing, you see one person in the couple. That's why I asked the question, who's the visionary, who's the practical one? Because oftentimes that visionary will be so far into the future and the what ifs, and this is how we get there, that the practical one is like, listen, we haven't gone on a date in 4 months, and you talking about convention, right? And I'm like, no, we're not doing none of that until I get some me time. So I think it's great that you guys have that baked in. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, but I think what it is too, and my wife can attest to this, that we do these things together. Like, by us doing these things together and believing together, most of the time, sometimes people will start a business and the other person doesn't really have the buy-in. So my wife bought into this. When I brought this home, I didn't have to convince her for 4 weeks. I brought it home. I showed her. She said, let's go. So I already had her buy-in. So the whole house is energy. Even my daughter knows, if we sell shields, I get toys. So everybody,
she's like, more toys.
Right. So everybody's energy in the house knows that SmilesShield is a great thing, and we all need to give energy to it. So that's one of the main things.
The last part I'll say in terms of marriage is we intentionally built a marriage that literally wanted everybody win. It's like when Issa Rae said, I want everybody black to win. And the family is everybody gonna win, right? And sometimes this is blind faith and belief of not gonna we'll poke holes, right? That's what you do. But ultimately, everybody better be on board and support, right? So we don't have a fear of failing. And we don't put this pressure and expectation that everything has to be perfect. And so for us, if I was to bring something home, he's for it. He brings something home, I'm for it. If our daughter was to come and say, I want to try this out, we put support and energy around it, because at the end of the day, our motto as a family is everybody wins. And we're here to support each other, to live our best selves, to live our best lives. And so that's really is the nucleus of how we think.
But I would also say, to take away that from marriage, is our marriage is genderless. And when I say genderless, I mean that certain roles and certain things that need to be accomplished, we don't place on woman or man. This is what the woman should do. Well, you're the woman. No, the garbage is sitting there. Garbage needs to go out. Garbage goes out. Well, I'm the man. I need to go to pick up the daughter. Yes, that's my daughter too. So
absolutely.
There are no rules. And if you live like this, everything is fluid, you get more done. So with us, it's fluidity, it's energy that moves constantly, because we don't create constraints amongst ourselves and blockages that really don't exist, that were created by someone else.
How have you guys been able to network into these different circles where you have these celebrities that are not only being customers, but are now having their own lines, I believe, of the shield? Like, how does that part work? And I know that people can be successful without having celebrity contacts, but in terms of networking on purpose and being in the room where decisions happen, how have you guys managed to do that part?
Man, I mean, I think the young kids or young people get to say, I'm going in your DM. I don't care. I don't care who you are. I'm sliding your DM, and I'm explaining to you who I am. Please follow me. Let me offer you a SmilesShield, or would you like to buy a SmilesShield? So I don't mind sliding into anyone's DM. And hey, it sometimes it works, sometimes they respond later after they see it on one of their friends and say, hey, you DM me. I missed it, but I know you didn't miss it. You saw it. You saw it blow. You saw it catch steam, and you said, "Wait a minute, they DM'd me 3 weeks ago."
Yes.
One thing I'll add though, very early on, we were very blessed. We have an expansive network. I used to work at MTV Networks in New York. Now I work at Facebook and Instagram. So I interface with a lot of famous clientele. And so when they heard that we were doing this, they wanted to have one. We were surprised that some of our customers also had famous clientele and actually gifted a SmilesShield. And so an example would be Sunny from The View. We had no idea that Sunny had one until she posted on her Instagram and tagged SmilesShield. And we typically know when someone does that because Shopify is on fire. And we're like, whoa, what happened? And we checked. And so it just literally started to grow because if Sunny from The View was wearing it, tag SmilesShield, all the people that are in her network, right? And oftentimes they're famous people who will also follow her. So Ernest talked about sliding people's DMs. We actually have a lot of people in our DMs now. And it's because they saw someone post that was famous that they follow and they're like, oh, that's hot. I think the thing with the SmilesShield is that we are reimagining what safety and fun looks like, right?
Yes.
And this is not knocking all the other ones because everything has a purpose. And so oftentimes when you have a vision, people didn't know that, oh, I can still look fly. Oh, I can customize it. And so this is where it's changing the game of a face shield because there's nothing like it that I've seen. There's so many different types, but the ability to customize, the ability to put your own swag to it is what people have been able to see, in particular on social media. And that's the power of social media. There are multimillionaires just off social media alone. A post alone can travel and scale to hundreds of thousands of people. We've seen things that have gone viral.
Absolutely. I had Denise Williams on, who's the broker, the hottest broker in Atlanta. She owns her own brokerage, and now she's the president of the Rap Snacks Outreach Program. And one of the things that you said earlier, Ernest, is that you have your daughter, and one of the things that she mentioned is making your kids part of the legacy, part of the business that you're building. To that point, have you guys looked back so far over the last few months, this whirlwind of success, and started to talk about the legacy and what you want to see next for SmilesShield?
Absolutely. I mean, SmilesShield actually is one product. SmilesShield, eventually, COVID will, God willing, will come to an end. Whatever happens with the vaccination, whatever's going to happen, we won't be wearing designer face shields forever. So SmilesShield, or Smiles, which we have one Smiles brand, is our actual parent company. So we have a health and beauty app that's going to be coming out later this year, that we're going to be delivering services as celebrity services directly to your house. There are multiple things, but as far as relation to the legacy, I take my daughter with me some days. She skips school some days. And people probably like, they should be in school, and they panicking. Why should they? They go to school today. It's like, it's a pandemic. Some kids are not in school. How about I teach her about business? Come and go with me. She said, Dad, I don't want to. Well, guess what? You're gonna work today. You're gonna pack boxes and you're gonna put in orders. So things like that, understanding that we're in a different time right now. People are trying to believe that we're in a normal. They're gonna make this as what they call normal. But your real normal is what's happening now. That's what's normal, or what's reality is. Reality is not what was happening in the past, because time changes frequently. So that's pretty much, like I said, from a legacy standpoint.
We're obviously constant innovating, and we have some really cool partners. This is because no one has seen this. We're coming out with a face shield mask combo. Because we got from our feedback from customers that are like, face shields, great, but we also want to wear a mask. And they were like, can you get a mask that fits the face shield? I love it. Customer feedback directly from IG. And so we have a face shield mask combo that we're coming out with some really cool influencers. We're also doing some more, what we heard from people, some more simple options where it's going to be sane. So like a what up, doe? Where's
Yeah.
that? Where's that from?
Yes.
Where's that from?
That's that's a Detroit.
Detroit.
That's a
if you
Detroit
ever
thing.
been to Detroit, that's a saying. It goes back to the customization. But as Barbara was saying, like the face shield, face mask combo, we like to say right here, we make face shields, but your state says it's mandated to wear a face mask, because we've had customers say you still have to wear a face mask. We know it's like saying, well, when someone sells you a shirt, you still have to put a pair of pants on. It's like,
Right.
we do promote you. Yes, you should be wearing a face mask. The face shield is an additional protection, and it's a fly part of additional protection. And in addition to that, it's protecting your eyes, because viruses, if you understand viruses, can get in through the eyes.
Yes.
So believe it or not, we're probably saving some people from getting COVID by having the additional protection of the eye protection.
Absolutely.
But we're excited to have the kind of the full package of the mask and the shield. So it's like a one-stop shop.
I love it. I want to circle back real quick just to celebrate that I'm not the only person that's a little petty, because what I've reached out to some guests, and we don't grow this podcast, we're all strategic in what we do. And there's been some people that I've reached out to, and I'm like, hey, you really should, I'd love to have you on the show. And I'm busy, my calendar. And then they see I have guests like yourselves on, and they see the who's coming next. They see the Paul Bronson in London, and they see, all these different, and they're like, oh, they see Edwin Haynes, coming on, Network Marketing Billionaire. They're like, oh, Chuck, my calendar's open up. I'm like,
I can get it.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Funny thing about my Calendly link is just
I'm booked.
I'm so booked right now. I
you know why though? They're called early adopters. Like there's some that are early, they get it, like you, the visionary. We have the MBA class. I saw from his class where it's like this person dancing and he's by himself and people
love that video.
And it was like one person came. 2 people came and they kind of described who they were, and then the whole beach came. Yes. And it talked about, and that's why we don't give no hate. We love everybody who comes to us, whatever stage you need, but we know who we are, right? But we know that some people who get it, who are on it, we've had people where they didn't even see the product. They're like, give me one, I'll post, right?
Yes.
And there were some who waited to certain people who posted, then they felt comfortable, right? And so once you understand that that's just kind of the dynamics of people, you don't take any of that personally. That didn't take anything away from we still that we hot. You'll come around eventually, right? Yes. But like you said, we may not be readily available.
Because now the brand has taken a different transition.
Yes.
So we were trying to reach out to you early on. It's almost like, dating. When dating, for some people, you ask somebody out and they were like, no, I don't think so. And then they saw you move up the ladder and like, I'm actually available to go out on that date. It's like, kind of move, I might have moved on.
Oh my God. Yes. It reminds me of those videos we see where the guy tries to, get at the girl and then she sees the car. And it's just like, oh, wait a minute.
I think I have time.
Right. Oh,
so like my wife said, honestly, in business and in entrepreneurship, don't take it personal.
Yeah.
Don't take it personal if your family doesn't believe in it. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal if your friends don't believe in your business. Don't take it personal if customers say, I don't like that. Focus on the customers that do love what you're doing. Yes. Put all your energy into the customers that love what you bring into the table. That'll blossom, that'll grow. Don't spend time going back and forth in comments. Saying, I gotta respond. I don't have to respond. Because guess what? I can just delete the comment. I'm empowered. It's my Instagram. If I don't like it, I delete the comment. And this is, like I said, invest your energy into the customers who want your product.
Yeah.
And search for those customers. Do not spend time fighting.
Yes.
I love it. I absolutely love you guys. This energy is so awesome. I can see why you guys are enjoying the success that you are. To the early adopters phase, can you talk to me just a little bit about what it looks like to have the first celebrity interaction, right? Where you're like, oh, you know, for a lot of people, it takes them by surprise. Like, oh, such and such is asked to be, you know, like, how did that part feel?
Honestly, the first person, I'm gonna say who it was, I can't remember, but I was a little, it was a little taken, you know, a little starstruck, because it was like, you know, you don't normally talk to these people every day, but they're
Right.
like, hey, well, here's my number. Oh no, here's my address. Because I literally now got a
Right.
Rolodex of some people that are pretty famous, their direct address, their contact number. They call me directly on my phone. Hey, Ernest, can you do this for me?
Mhm.
You know, so, you know, that initial, you know, response, but you have to keep your calm and,
Right.
you know, remain professional is what I say. Do not disrespect the privacy. And I
Right.
think that's one of the things
Yeah.
that I've been able to do, and why the celebrities have been given more celebrity referrals, is I also respect the privacy
Right.
of that celebrity. And I don't
Yes.
say, oh, look whose number I have. Look what's going on. I got their address. I can go over their house right now. You
Right.
know,
Right.
it's really about saying, hey, I respect what you do, but I know you here as a customer. What can I do for you? Remain
Yeah.
professional. And that's pretty much, you know, what it's been. But I've talked to some pretty famous people, and it's been fun.
We gonna see how that holds up when Michael B. Jordan and Rihanna come through. We go.
You know, Michael B. Jordan, we have a
Listen,
show for you. Anyone out there listening, slide up in our DMs, get us the contact.
I love it. I love it. We're a couple quick questions, and then we're gonna wrap up, because I know you guys are busy and moving and shaking. This is the rapid fire round, so to speak. I'm gonna give you guys each a word. You tell me what it means to you and your business. The first word is belief.
Belief. I would honestly say belief would transcend to believe in yourself. No matter what, internally, everybody, once again, is not going to believe in your vision and your passion and what you're doing. You first need to believe in it, in your soul, the fire in your belly, everything that's inside of you. You need to just hone in on that, and have that unwilling desire that this is going to work. So that's what I would say with belief.
I know you say rapid fire, so I'm gonna keep it short. The foundations of entrepreneurship.
Foundations and entrepreneurship. I love it. What about the next word is obviously vision. What does that word mean to you guys?
Vision. I would say with vision, you have to first be a visionary. You can't have a vision without being a visionary. And I would say, do you have the ability to think 5 and 10 years away?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the ability to think next year? Like, I was already in 2021 and 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So I was already in 2023 with where this product would be, so that I can reverse engineer backwards to get everything that I needed. So
Wow.
do you have the ability, when you say you have vision, are you really a visionary? You know?
So I'm known for taglines and catchphrases.
Okay.
The ability to think beyond your current circumstance.
Wow. Wow. I love it. I love it. Last word, execution.
Execution. I would say for execution, do you have a team that believes, going back to vision, in your vision with the same tenacity that you do? Because those people, you're not going to get it done by yourself. Eventually, as things grow, you're going to need people that are extensions of yourself. So execution is organization and really operational efficiency. You know, are you organized, and do you strategically know how to plan so that you can execute properly?
And I come in, you see the tag team effect?
Yes, absolutely.
To get SHIT done.
I love it. That I think that's part wife, part mom answer though. She's listen, at the end of the day, we got to get it done. I love it. I love it. Last question. What do you guys do to continue on the personal growth? Like, a lot of people will, you know, they say they read XYZ, they study this industry, they wake up and they watch Cheddar for investments. Like, what do you guys do to strengthen your personal growth so that you're able to have the social maturity and the entrepreneurship posture when you have these different opportunities present themselves?
I honestly think we study books that have nothing to do with business. So I'll give you a perfect example. There's a book by Deepak Chopra that he just released called MetaHuman. and pretty much it discusses becoming infinite, having infinite possibilities, or becoming limitless, or becoming beyond human, or becoming what they say metahuman in the superhero world. It means becoming superhuman. So you have to know how to release constraints that have been put on us by family, friends, religion, beliefs, in order for you to be successful. So I think that's one of the key reasons why we're able to, even in a pandemic, because everything under all circumstances would have said you do not need to start a business. It is a pandemic. What are you doing?
Right.
And we did totally opposite. But our studying and our training told us we're fearless, meaning there's no such thing as what time. There is no such thing as there is a time. Only do you believe, do you have the vision to get it done and execute?
And I say for me, I'm a lifelong learner. So I learn from everywhere. From our travels, we learn from different cultures. I read books. I decided to go back to get my MBA. I already have my master's in public administration. He went to get his MBA. So we just have a natural instinct of learning, right? And so if you're open to the universe and you're open to learning and lessons and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, that's where it's going to all come to you naturally. But you have to put in that work. You have to read the books. You have to go to that conference. You have to look at that podcast, right? It just doesn't come to you overnight. And I think that's the one thing that I would tell people is put in the work.
I love it.
One last thing, I think that takes away the fear that you were talking about.
Yes, the consistent work does remove fear. I would totally agree. I think that I'm one of those people that gets lost in the work, right? I continue to do, and the more that I do, the less fear I have about how it's going to turn out, because you learn as you go. So I am totally a fan. I'm so happy that we were put together. You know, I tell everyone, one of the reasons that we're able to scale this show is that greatness attracts greatness, right? And so I had a previous guest on, Erica Diaz, and she's like, Chuck, you gotta have the smiles on. Like, this is the next big thing. And Social Proof, you guys are as advertised, if not better. So I am definitely a fan. As we wrap up, I have one more word, and that word is greatness. What does that word mean for you?
Greatness. I think greatness, once again, you personally, each individual have to define what greatness is for them in their capacity. I mean, when people talk about greatness, I would say being great, don't compare yourself to other people, which, you know, and what's been defined through society and, you know, especially American society as what's great, because that's one of the ways that's creating what we call our depression is, you know, and why people are striving for things they believe to be great. You need to go inside and find out what's great to you,
right?
Because in the end, that's what's really going to matter, you know. And my definition of what's greatness and what I consider greatness, honestly, is serving humanity. And I know it may sound like, hey, what do you mean? I feel right now I'm honestly on a social mission to make people smile.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what's great for me is how do I serve others? So that's greatness. When someone talks about greatness and how great they are, if you didn't give to others, to me, I don't really look at that as you may be great at one thing that you do, but greatness is giving to others. So that's where greatness unfolds for me and where it really lies. How do we serve others beyond ourselves as humans? That's really the key to me for how you be defined. You said earlier, legacy. You can't leave a legacy without people. People are going to give you legacy. And I say whether that's the family, my daughter, but they're going to decide if it was legacy. You're not going to be here to really know. At some point, you won't even exist. So how do you know that you are even great? Maybe you may not experience it. Like, you know, when some of our heroes have died, you know, from Malcolm to Martin.
Yes.
They don't even know they're this great right now because the people said you've earned it. That's greatness to me.
But listen, you guys are absolutely earning it. And like I said earlier, I'm excited to be in the circle, you know what I mean, to have this time to interact with visionaries just like yourself. As we wrap up, let everybody know where they can find Ernest and Barbara Smiles online, and what's next for SmilesShield.
Instagram, you can find us at SmilesShield. Very easy. You can find us at SmilesShield. Go to Instagram at SmilesShield. Facebook, it's SmilesShield. You want to find me? You can find me at Ernest Smiles at SmilesShield. Everything is SmilesShield. Just make sure you put both S's. It's SmilesShield. But that's where you can find us. What's up next is, once again, we have Shamia from the Atlanta Housewives. She has a face mask, face shield combo. That's the thing that's coming up next. We have a young lady, Toy Hardy, who's a influencer, pretty dope, just full of energy. She has a face mask and face shield coming out as well.
Nice. Well, listen, I am not going to hold you guys up too much longer. I am excited. Thank you so much for spending time on the Hawk Vision podcast. Guys, make sure that you share, like, and subscribe across all of your social media platforms. This is the place where we help to shorten the learning curve. This is the Hawk Vision podcast, the beautiful Barbara Solo Smiles, Ernest, my man over there with the facts. And ladies and gentlemen, again, share this, like this, subscribe. We will talk. Share this with other visionaries just like you. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.